there, Kira here with another Scrapbook layout process video for another Citrus Twist Sunday sketch. So every Sunday, Citrus Twist has a new sketch up on the blog, and you can go ahead and play along with the sketch challenge, just like I am. So I decided to flip the sketch this week, and I am converting it from a 12 by 12 sketch to fit a 8.5 by 11 layout. I'm using kind of a mix of all the kits. So I think I use like the main kit with the Pocket Life kit. There might be some of the add-on in there. A few different kits, just kind of all mixed together at this point. This far in the month, I usually just start mixing all of the kits together. So I chose these photos because the sketch calls for 2 photos. I rarely scrap more than 1 photo at a time. I usually like to just scrap 1 photo. But this called for 2 photos, this story. So let me tell you. So back in, I believe this was about 2009. I think it was 2009. 2009, Folsom and I had just moved back to my parents' house. I was living in Colorado for a while. Was that 2000? Yeah, 2009. And we moved back to Washington to live. We moved back, and I lived with my parents for a little bit until I moved somewhere else. Anyways, living with my parents, and one day I was at home, and my dad had the day off too, so we were both upstairs. Like, I was in my room, my dad was in his room, and I don't know where Folsom was. I just assumed he was with my dad, because he kind of like sometimes like to go like take naps with my dad. So I just assumed Folsom was like with him, and then a little bit later he was like, he starts barking, and like Folsom's not really a barker, so he starts barking, and it's kind of like his panicky bark, like something was wrong. So I'm like, where is he? Because I just like, so I leave my room, I go down the hall, my dad's like, what's he barking at? I was like, I don't know, I thought he was with you. And so we go downstairs, and he had wound up on the kitchen counter, like standing on the kitchen counter. Now, Folsom is a big dog. He's a yellow lab. He's like 90 pounds. Well, back then he was 90 pounds. He's a little bit lighter now because he's like old man dog. But back then he was about 90 pounds, and he had somehow managed to get up on the counter. I don't know how he got up on the counter, but he did. So I snapped the photo before I took him down, because that's what good moms do, right? Like, you got to get the photo. And the picture is really poor quality. It was like on an old like Motorola like flip phone. Like, it was not like a good quality picture, so that's why I did it in black and white. And I've never scrapped this story, so just goofy story. Anyways, he's trying to get tuna fish cans. My dad had left tuna fish cans on the counter. We had cats back then, so I think he was like saving them for the cats. But then my dog got too tempted and had to jump on the counter and get the tuna fish cans. Now, fast forward to about a month ago, and I was in the other room, and I hear Elliot in the living room, and he's like kind of like whining, like doing this like like whiny cry thing. Like, wasn't really crying, but like whining, like he needed something. So I go in there, and he's like standing on the bookcase, just like Folsom was years and years ago. And so he was sitting on the bookcase, and he couldn't get down. I don't know how he got up there. I mean, I know he like went from like the couch to the bookcase, but he just couldn't figure out how to get down from the bookcase, like couldn't figure out how to get back to the couch from the bookcase. But it was just so funny, and like my immediate thought was, this is just like the time that Folsom jumped on the counter and couldn't get down. Like, who knew that moment would prepare me somehow for being a mom one day? So I snapped a photo like a good mom does, and it wasn't a great quality photo because the lighting was, it was getting dark that day. So I printed that in black and white too, which worked well since the one of Folsom had to be in black and white. And the title of this is going to be Deja Vu, because that's pretty much what it was. It's like the same exact moment happening all over again. So onto the layout. Now that you've heard the backstory of this layout, I'm following the sketch relatively closely. I did like a couple paper layers behind my photo. I was originally going to use that like flowered paper because it's my favorite from the kit this month. But I realized I wanted to use the blue letters, and that paper just didn't have the right color blue in it. So I needed to bring a different blue down to my paper layers. So I brought in that blue and white Heidi Swap paper, and I think that worked out great. The wood grain paper off to the side, I layered that up twice because I thought it looked, I liked the look of it as the strip there. I liked that wood grain, but I thought it looked a little funny because it's like a plaid paper, but like as just a strip, you can't really tell it's a plaid paper. It's just like triangles, really. And so I ended up cutting off a strip of it and then positioning it the opposite way. So it kind of gave like an interesting detail with the white little triangles kind of peeking out. And I really liked that. So I am adhering down all of my layers at this point because I want to add some machine stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera and then come back. And I added it to the strips on the side, and then I added it to the strips on, well, I think just one of the paper layers below. And then I'm just going to rough up all the edges of my paper here. That little label is part of like the cut apart sheet, and I was really originally going to put dates there, but then I realized I don't really know the exact date that Folsom did this. I know it was like 2009, and I didn't think it really mattered. Like, it didn't really matter to the story. It's just a funny story about how my kid is basically like my dog. So yeah, and then the sketch calls for like some stamping up here by the title, and so I thought that this stamp would be perfect for this. So if you guys haven't checked out this stamp in the shop yet, you definitely should. It's got all these cute little phrases on it that are so like down to earth and like real. I just think it's a really fun stamp. So the one that I stamped, and I just like repeat stamped it all over, was that it says, "This defies explanation." And I just thought that was so perfect for this story, because it's like, I can't explain why my child is just my dog, and you know, why I experienced this twice in my life, where I had to help Folsom is basically my child. I had to help my child down from somewhere that they got up on. I'm just adding some more stamping because I didn't like the way that it was looking before, so I just added some more, and just made sure it was really kind of messy looking, and I think it turned out really neat. I'm going to go ahead and bump both my photos up on some foam, and then I add a little cluster on top of Folsom's photo, so it's like a little bouquet of flowers and a little piece of ephemera that says "Explore." I don't know that it really has, like, explore might not be the best word choice for this, but I thought it worked because, you know, Folsom was exploring the tuna fish cans up on the counter, and who knows what Elliot was doing, but but yeah, I just liked the pop of blue that it added to that corner, so that's pretty much why I chose to put that there. And let's see, I did that blue flower behind my paper layers. I cut it in half so I could use it on a different layout, and I believe that layout's already gone live, so you've seen where I've used that blue flower. But I didn't want to waste half a flower if it was going to be covered up anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these photos down, and then once I get these adhered down, I think the last thing I'm going to do is just add some splatters to the page. I think I add some stitching to my letters. That's what I just did there. You'll see that better in the close-ups. But yeah, I just added some machine stitching right over top of those letters. And then I'll add some black splatters, and like I've been doing lately, I put some black watercolor on an acrylic block, and with a small brush, I just kind of flick it onto my page so it creates these really small splatters. And then I do kind of touch my brush to the paper just to add a few bigger splotches. But that's it. Once that's done, that's my layout. I'm going to leave the blog post below so you can check out the Sunday sketch, so you can see the sketch more in detail and play along if you'd like. If you're not part of the Citrus Twist fan page Facebook group yet, you should definitely join, because you can see more inspiration from the design team there, and the challenges like this sketch challenge would be up there as well. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Have a good day. Bye.